Hey guys, welcome back to episode 4 of the Getting to Know the Muslim Basketball Player series. Today, I had Waqas from Team Nazareth, and let's bring him on. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for episode 4 of the Getting to Know You series.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're having a great season, mashallah. It's entertaining to watch you play.
Thank you.
So let's start from the beginning of the season.
Okay.
What were your thoughts about the draft?
Okay. So the draft, I was on the fence. I think I was leaning more towards being for the draft. I thought my thoughts were it would be fun to play with different players, skill sets that have different styles of play as well. So my brother and I talked a lot about it, Anwar and I, and he was kind of on the fence about it too, because he was like, maybe we won't play together this season. I think we mentioned on one of our podcasts that there hasn't been any season we haven't played together. And I would guess me and Anwar we're around about 15 seasons played total in our career. So he, just quickly, I mentioned this to a bunch of people that I told him not to select me in the first round because I wanted to pick up a great player and hopefully get drafted in the second round. Because maybe people would be like, oh, it's Anwar's brother, he'll get drafted. He should draft him. A lot of guys told me I wouldn't have made it that far. So I'm happy he picked me up first. He said he had full confidence in me that he wants to take me first. He doesn't want to pick anybody else. Regarding the draft itself, draft night, we had a great time. Draft night, I feel like it was for doing it for the first time. I feel like it was a great success. A lot of guys came out hoping a lot more people come out next draft if it happens again. And overall, it was just like a fun time. I feel like now that we have the first draft down, there's already things that we talk about and think of that for our second draft and ongoing that we're going to implement. That'll make the draft even funner and more exciting leading up to it and stuff like that. So the draft, I think overall this season, it looks like it seems at this point like it was a great decision and something that we are looking at teams top to bottom, that we are, for the most part, we're a very balanced league. And, with injuries and stuff's going to happen in the league, that might throw off the competition a little bit or maybe unbalance it a little bit. But overall, alhamdulillah, it was a great success in my opinion. And I think it should definitely be implemented going forward. Yeah.
Were you guys able to draft the players you guys had on your board before the draft, or were there any surprises?
So, so Anwar and I, we did a couple of mock drafts.
I know we did one at work.
We did one at work, yeah. We did one at work, yeah. We went through it as well. It was fun to do that. But Anwar and I did talk about it on our own. And to be honest, we got pretty much a lot of the people that we wanted to. Shout out Umar, I always love to shout you out. You were a lock for us. We wanted to take you in the third round. Second round, it came down to, we knew Andy and Matt pretty much were going to fall to us as long as nobody took Matt in the first round. And it was such a hard decision between Andy and Matt. We went Matt. And like I said, I don't think we could have went wrong. I don't think we could have went wrong with picking either one. They both bring such a great skill set to a team and leadership and overall great players. And then the last couple of picks, we never we weren't expecting to draft Yusuf, but it kind of was just in the moment where we were just like, you know what? Let's just do this to Yassine. Let's just draft his brother. But we already know Yusuf's his mindset when he wants to play and what he brings to the table. Just being someone who wants to learn, right? Who wants to get better. I feel like that between those two things, we just were like, we want to take Yusuf.
You guys threw me off with that because I did have Yusuf on my board. Like, I feel like he's such a good kid, right? Such a good person.
Yeah.
That he would make a great teammate, and he didn't get as many opportunities to play last season. That was kind of his first season in the league.
Yeah.
And I really felt like on the right team he can be an impact player, and I'm glad that you guys took him because he is having an impact on the game. So, good for him.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Yeah.
So what did you think of your team coming out of the draft?
So I knew that, where Fran knows where I'm going with this because I cramped up at the end of last season and we drafted half of our team are doctors. So coming out of the draft, I was like, inshallah, if anything happens to us on the court, I think I'll be okay. I'll get the proper nutrition advice and recovery advice, inshallah.
Massage on the
And
sideline.
massages, yeah, on the sideline while I'm on the bench. So I was content with our team. The one thing I was worried about was kind of ball handling. But I have a lot of faith in my brother and always have that if there has to be someone who has to handle the rock at the end of the game, when we're getting pressured, pressed, anything like that, I want my brother to have the ball in his hand. So I feel like from that was the only thing that was worrisome. But we also had faith in Ahmed Naeem. Mashallah, he's doing great as well. We strengthened. I think the best relief that Anwar and I had by taking Matt as our second round pick was that me and him had a lot of pressure to rebound every single game, and we're big men. We should be rebounding, right? That's a part of our game. We shouldn't be shying away from that. But taking Matt, I feel like took a lot of pressure off of us being inside, clogging the paint. And then we also thought, strategically on a smaller court, why not build a team with a bigger body that we can now implement the zone, which Yusuf brings up on the podcast as well, where we can utilize the smaller court and clog up that, if we play a 2-3 or even a 3-2, we are confident that the people down low or in the middle are going to be able to clog, help, and rebound, to help our team out.
Was there anything in the beginning, but like before the first game, that you had doubts about your team that now you feel like a different way about?
That's a good question. So
I'll help you kind of answer that.
Okay.
One of the things that came out of the draft or after the draft was teams saying you guys don't have the speed or stamina
Okay.
to play against other teams.
Yep.
And which I think I've seen a change in your team.
Mhm.
So
Okay. Yeah. I think to piggy off that's a great point that he made. That I think between that, our stamina, as well as a lot of people said we weren't going to be an outside shooting team. We weren't going to be able to keep up with teams like Laud, who are 3-point shooting teams, because it's very hard to keep up with a team that shoots a lot more threes and is efficient with it, as opposed to a team who's trying to just score 2-pointers or regular field goals. So I think between those two things, us being able to keep up with teams and being able to keep up with them scoring wise outside, I think as of today, we have, personally, I think we have the top two defenses in the league. Maybe three, but I'm going to stick with two because it's my team. So I think that counteracted with a lot of teams being able to apply a lot of pressure by scoring a lot on us. Just this past week with Waqas' team, they scored 34 points. And then the week before that, I don't think the team scored more than 40, 45 points. So these last couple of weeks, we've been really tying the knots and loosening up, where we were slacking our weaknesses in the first few weeks of the season. And I feel like going into the postseason that we're more dominant on defense than we are with that offense, especially how we adapted without having Anwar for half the season.
So you had a huge game yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
How do you feel about it?
I feel really good. I wish Waqas was there to witness it and guard me again this game. But it's funny because I reflected on the game and both of my games that I think I've scored the highest this season has been against, is it Diyar Yassin?
yeah,
Diyar Yassin. So Osman's team. So both of my best games have been against them. So I hope we meet you guys in the playoffs. But to be honest, I'm in a different mindset right now. I think I flipped a switch when Anwar went down with injury. I think a lot of that was either an opportunity for me when Anwar went down, or that was something that I could have been really upset about and just been like, oh man, Anwar is going to be out for the season. This is going to be either a waste of a season, or it's going to be more or less like, okay, let me just kind of see where our team can go. But our team had a great talk after Anwar went down with injury, and I just told them to trust me, have faith in me, that I can carry the team if need be, or I can help carry the team if need be. So just this last game, like playing against a team that statistically is a bottom half team in this league. We knew we had to take advantage, and we knew how much this game meant to us for us to have an opportunity to get a bye week and have Anwar be more rested, be ready for the playoffs. And I'm not even one who's for having a bye week, because I feel like that kind of throws off momentum of some teams, where you're like, oh, we're just gonna chill back and relax this week, right? Because we're off or whatnot. But inshallah, if we do get the bye, we have a game plan to meet with the team and to go over things. So I feel like we have to stay dialed in and focused. But we knew what this game meant to us, and I was happy, I was able to overcome another challenge with teams focusing on me and providing like for my team and putting up great amount of points. Alhamdulillah.
I've heard your name been thrown in the MVP candidates. What are your thoughts about that?
So again, I guess I'll start with going back to Anwar's injury. I feel like that without Anwar's injury, it would be very, very difficult for me to even be in the MVP conversation, because of what Anwar brings to the table for our team, and because of my opportunities get limited, and that's not a bad thing, right? Because he takes so much of opportunities and he makes the best of them. I feel like that because he went down, it was up to me to kind of take that step forward, put the team on my back, and get into the MVP conversation, which has been there for a couple of weeks. And I appreciate everyone who even thinks for me as MVP, because I had zero thought about it at the beginning of the season. That wasn't even my goal. My goal was just to help my team win, score maybe a couple more points than last season, and defend our title, our championship. So to be at this stage now, where I'm in the top runners of MVP candidate, alhamdulillah, it's a blessing. It's also something that's making me thrive every week to want to play better. It's motivating me, to be honest. Like a lot of people, some people we joke about are getting pressured because they're under, I gotta get this award for Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player, MVP. So it provides pressure to them. But to me, it's actually doing the opposite effect, where I'm like, I want to get out there and I want to play up to where people are now kind of seeing me this season, and fulfill their, like, anyone who thinks that I'm MVP, I want to prove them right. You know what I mean?
And speaking of pressure, last week there was a couple of times when you got to the free throw line.
Yep.
And I love those opportunities, right? Because we always try to, we know each other well. So like I do this with you, I do this with Monam sometimes. I did this with Yassine. I went under the basket, sat there, and like literally just spotlight right on you, like don't miss these free throws.
Yeah.
You made the first two.
Yep.
Then you got to a free throw line again.
Yep.
Made the first one.
Yep.
And then what looked like an air ball on the second one.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people realize this, but on that second shot, you actually closed your eyes and you said eyes closed like Jordan before you took that shot.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of goes into what you mentioned, because there are guys that in those key moments sometimes that they don't want to be in that spotlight.
Yeah.
But when I saw you hit those shots and even be calm enough and be that collective and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna shoot it with my eyes closed. Yeah. That kind of gives an idea of like the mindset that you have, that this point is not too big for you. Like you can handle it, and you can thrive and have fun with it and not be like stiff and be nervous.
Definitely, yeah. And I think Anwar made a comment. He was like, Farhad, we need you to sit right there during the playoffs every time Waqas shoots free throws, because he's making all of them. And funny statistic about my free throws, like you made fun of my free throws, rightfully so. I think I started off the season like 07 or 08 with the second game as well, because I missed my free throws in the second game as well. And ever since then, I looked at my stats like the last 3-4 games, and I've only missed one free throw, which is the one where I shot it eyes closed Jordan style. So like I think I'm like 10 of 11 with that miss or something like that. So I've turned my season around, thankfully, on the free throw side.
And you remember we were talking about this at work, where you're like, being at like 0 for 6, 0 for 7 at the free throw line, you're not going to be able to get that number up. Yeah. But now with the opportunities you are getting, and being able to get to the free throw line, you're able to turn around.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Which is crazy, because that's
Yeah. No, I appreciate it.
So everyone's seen you play like on the court, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about like a more personal side of you.
Sure, absolutely. You have the green light.
So when did you start playing basketball?
I started playing basketball. So when you say started playing basketball, would you say like just like kind of shooting around or playing in a league or like had the interest?
Just like, kind of just like playing, not...
The first time you ever picked up a ball.
Yeah.
Picked up a basketball? I would say, if I had to guess, like maybe between 7 to 8 years old, I would say I picked up a basketball. Yeah, and I don't know what the next question will be if it's related to that, but what got me into basketball around that age between 8 to 10, when I got into basketball a little bit more, I started watching basketball. So I started watching the NBA, and my favorite team was the New Jersey Nets. So we were living in New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey. So I was a huge Nets fan, and that's when Jason Kidd was Vince Carter came a little later, but Jason Kidd, Kerry Kittles, what'd you say? Van Horn. Yeah. So they were like they were starting to mold this team, and I lived in New Jersey, so of course I got all the games, so I just started watching them, and that's what really motivated me to be like, oh, this sport is like, this is definitely a sport I'm very interested in, and yeah.
So you're still a Nets fan?
So, so to be honest, as I stand today, so I was a huge Nets fan up until probably I moved to Pennsylvania, and just started like I ended up like getting busier with life, going to college, getting married and stuff like that. So I kind of geared away from the NBA, and as well as those players retired like Jason Kidd, Vince Carter. Vince Carter and Jason Kidd are my two favorite players of all time. I think that today I'm more of just a basketball fan, an NFL fan, that anyone who has great class and is great at is just a great overall NBA player. I'm a fan of them, to be honest. I end up always in playoff time starting to root for somebody who I'm just like, oh, I love watching this team play. That's what I usually end up doing, but I'm not a fan of one team particularly.
Oh, do you have like a current favorite player?
A current favorite player? It was Steph Curry for a few years. I loved Steph Curry. And then I shifted kind of towards Kevin Durant too. I know he gets like a lot of hate in the media and stuff. He gets like, but he's a fantastic player and probably like a top 5 to 10 scorer of all time, meaning one-on-one player where he's just not guardable. And I kind of tried to gear my game towards him. I'm not even like a fraction of what he is. But I feel like that's where actually my number comes from, is 35 that I wear in Muslim basketball. I'm number 35 for Kevin Durant. It's because I picked that number a few years ago in Kevin Durant, when a couple of people told me that I kind of shoot like Kevin Durant, where like I have the high release to the left side, and Kevin Durant kind of has that too. So I kind of just stuck with it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like, let me be number 35. Let me try to get my shot going, my mid-range, which is not the best in the league, and kind of thrive through that. So that's why I have number 35 in Muslim basketball.
How do you like working with my dad and being part of that little PPL group?
Little PPL.
So I think meeting your dad and getting the opportunity at PPL is, alhamdulillah, one of the biggest blessings of my life. Your dad and I talked a lot before I started the job at PPL, because he wanted to get me in eventually. So we worked back and forth with talking, and then he eventually got me the job. And he's been a great mentor and a great leader. Someone who even though I started the job at an older age, I still feel like he's helping me, molding me and kind of mentoring me to be just a better person, just smarter and more mature in the business atmosphere environment. But it's a great environment to be around. For how this bought hired on a few more people like Dawood and a couple of these other guys, Anwar, that it's made our environment and it's made our job much more fun. Even though we know, it's business at the end of the day, we have to be super serious, but it's more of a relaxed atmosphere at work, where it's not like, we're pressured every single day. And with how your dad, manages the team, he doesn't pressure us, but he kind of guides us. I think that's the biggest difference, that a lot of people, one of our team members on our team says that he's only here because of Farhad. That because Farhad is a supervisor and mentoring him and helping him. So I I feel like it's more of a relaxed atmosphere, but out of my love and respect for your dad, I know that I have to, he bought me on to PPL, so I kind of know that I have to meet certain expectations, and I want to thrive within the company, so that way, you know, I can kind of help, you know, obviously first of all help the company, and also
make you proud.
Make you proud, yeah. Make you proud, and of course, you know, inshallah, I want to do better for me and my family, and I think the opportunity with Farhad was there, and I took advantage of it, and inshallah there'll be more opportunities to come, but it's a great environment.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the opposite side of that relationship at work, you know, I think you guys do a good job. I think we overall do a good job of being able to keep like work, personal relationships, and like the work relationship like separated from each other.
Agreed.
We're able to, you know, I think, you know, even at work, I think we have one of the best teams in the company.
Awesome.
You know, just from a work ethic, like how hard you guys, you know, you guys are always willing to put time in to like fix stuff, take care of stuff when things are necessary, and makes it easy for me, you know, as a supervisor to be able to not have to like micromanage, right?
Yeah.
So you know, I'm proud of you guys for that. I think I that's one of the things that I enjoy at work. And again, you know, with all the guys that we have, you know, Andy's another guy that he's not on our team, but he's somebody that's, you know, in our league.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys are getting to know him now. But you know, funny story, I tried to get him into the league like 2 years ago, and we were denied, right? Like Yassine and I don't know if your brother was a commissioner at that time. I don't think he was, but they denied it. We had injuries and we were like short on players, but the rules were specific where you can only add players if you're down to a certain number, and we weren't down, so we would have to collect 2 players to add him, and it just, you know, anyway, it was just a mess. But you know, to have him finally join last year and like see him progress in the league the way he has, like it's beautiful. Like I see, you know, you're in the league, Anwar is in the league, Dawood is in the league, Wasay, Andy, me. It's like, you know, it makes it fun because, you know, again, little story, a couple of weeks ago, the week before our game against Sheikh Jarrah, I'm sitting in my manager's office, and like, you know, we're working on some stuff, and I get a, you know, message on Teams from Andy like, hey, you in the office? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm in a meeting right now. And he's like, all right, let me know when you're free. And I'm like, why, what's up? He's like, I want to come upstairs and talk trash about our game. So like, after I got the meeting, I'm like, yeah, I'm free now. And he came upstairs,
That's funny.
and we spent time. And I think that's when I sent the picture to the group.
Yeah.
But you know, it's important to have that those relationships at work, and to have something spill over from Muslim basketball at work also. It just, you know, it just makes it a more fun environment.
Definitely agreed. And funny thing to add on about Andy is I feel like whenever we're having, you know, a little bit, you know, on during break or something, when we're having a conversation about basketball or the league, Andy kind of just stands there and smiles and just nods, because like it's more just like, yeah, I know I'm, you know, I know I'm a good player. We have the best team and stuff like that, because we're just kind of complimenting him and his team. We're just like, you guys have a great team. You're a great player. You know, you build the team and stuff. He just smiles. He just
like,
stands there.
I know.
He's like, yeah, I know. But yeah, and the funny thing about Wasay, he said that a little after, you know, we hired on a couple of guys after me. Wasay was just like, man, I've been with this group for so long, and as soon as I left, like we just got like, you know, more of a funner team and stuff like that, where I would have enjoyed my work environment more. But yeah.
So Yusuf always talks about you being a dad. How many kids do you have?
So I have one son. We just had him. His name is Adam. We just had him he turned 6 months a week ago. So alhamdulillah, he's been the biggest blessing of my wife and I's life. Challenges, of course, I think you could talk to anyone, any dad or mother, about how challenging it can be to raise someone, especially being you know, first time parents, with anxiety and just being, you know, sleep deprived and a couple of different things. But it's definitely been a blessing. I have one son, Adam, and we've had up and downs, a little bit of, the community knows, I don't know how much the basketball knows, but he's had some health complications as well. So I would appreciate, and I do appreciate, anyone who makes dua for my son. So the past month or two, he's had a little bit of health complications, but alhamdulillah, he's progressing slowly. So it's been a little bit tougher on me. So I think that's another reason why basketball I've been picking up, just kind of be like, it's motivating me to play a little bit harder in basketball, because number one, I want my son to, I want my son to, inshallah, when he grows up and plays basketball, I want him to be better than me, right? So like, I know that if by getting back a little bit back into shape and being motivated with basketball, I want to introduce him to it and make him a better player than I am one day. As well as it's, inshallah, as well as it's just
better mid-range.
Better mid-range than me, yeah, which will be easy to do. So yeah, all those factors have kind of motivated me, and it's been a little more challenging for us recently, but alhamdulillah, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I've been summoning energy and just been able to thrive and stuff like that, between balancing work, balancing taking care of him, and balancing other things in my life. So I'm really proud of my wife for how much she's been doing for him too. So shout out to my wife. That's the first shout out to a spouse on a podcast. So you're the real MVP to my wife.
I was gonna ask you. I think you missed one game because of taking him to the hospital, and so I can't imagine how tough it is being a parent myself, having 3 kids. Did you ever, before you had your kid, think that you could care or love someone as much as your kid, or really understand what that meant? You know what I mean? Because you always hear people saying, like the parent,
unconditional.
Kids can never understand how much a parent can love the child. Did you ever do you feel that now, and you really understand what that means?
Yes, I think so a lot of people relate, like, who do you love the most in your life and all this and that, but a love that I have for my mother, the love I have for my mother, the love I have for my wife, the love I have for my son are completely different loves. You know what I mean? I feel like for my son, I wouldn't even hesitate. I would sacrifice anything. I would sacrifice anything for my son, as opposed to, I would do that for my spouse, for my mom, but it's just because I know that I'm the only one who can protect him. I can raise him. I can do a bunch of these things for him that I'm obligated to do, that the love I have for him is so unconditional. And it just continues to grow every single day, with the different milestones that he's hitting as he's progressing in his life, that my love for him is just growing. And I think, to answer your question, like, I didn't think I could like love someone so much and have such a, every time we're at the office, I'm just excited to go home and see him. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see my wife as well. I know she's going to be watching this, so I got to make sure I tread lightly.
I was going to say, Isha, rapid fire. Your wife or your son?
But I know she'll definitely be watching this one. So, but yeah, to answer your question, I didn't think I could love someone so much. Such a tiny, fragile, little thing that if he relies on his mother and his father just to survive. So I'm happy, it's like I said, alhamdulillah, a kid is like the biggest blessing you could have.
Alhamdulillah. And all the younger kids that, anyone that's not married, don't have kids yet, or the youth, the younger guys in the league, really listen to what he just said, right? Because that really is important for you guys to also understand how you might be annoyed with your parents at times and not understand where they're coming from, but like, the parents really do care. There's no one that's going to care more about you and your success and happiness and stuff than your parents. So it's hard to understand now, but when you get into a position where you have your own kids, you realize that now. And I wish somebody had taken that time out to really explain that to me in a way that made it click for me. So hopefully, we're able to do that. But I always tell the younger kids that I work with or talk to at the masjid or anywhere, really just appreciate your parents a lot.
No, definitely, and it hits as soon as you have your first child. As soon as you go through the labor process, and just from there, your love for your mother and father, meaning as a parent, the love you have for your own mother and father grows tremendously, because you know how much they sacrifice just by delivering a child.
Funny story. So when we had our first kid, as a guy, I'm always like, I don't cry, I don't do this, do that, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the second like I saw Ariana when she was born, like I teared up, and it was like wow, like you can't describe how that feels.
Yeah.
And then all the kids after that, it's just like, oh, we'll go through this already. I'm just kidding. But I will say, I don't think it was with Isha, but like with Isa at least.
There's nothing special whenever I was.
No, I'm saying like so this, what I'm about to tell, right? Is I think for Isa's, like while she was in labor, I actually brought the Xbox to the waiting room and I was in the waiting room.
Really?
With the Xbox. But alhamdulillah, that's in the past.
And sometimes it's just to keep your mind off things,
right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Because I'll get some things about my wife for basketball, but I'm just like, maybe it's to keep my mind off of things. I'm just gonna go play basketball.
And it's important, right? I think I think I appreciate like the wives that do understand this, but there are certain things that as guys we are under a lot of stress a lot of times, right? And we need some of these things to like get us to be sane and be healthy and be happy and stuff. And it goes a long way sometimes.
Absolutely, men have great poker faces. A lot of them, like they can hide a lot.
All right, let's get into rapid fire.
Awesome. Yes, right. I'm excited. Okay.
Other than Anwar, who's your favorite teammate?
I knew that was coming. Okay. I think the love that I've developed for Umar over this past season, I would have to go with Umar. But yeah, Umar.
Best player in the league.
Best player in the league. Two went straight to my mind, which were the first two overall picks in the draft. So if I had to go between Drew and Abdul Wadud, then I'm gonna go Drew because I love him a lot. But Abdul would do that 100%. He's an unstoppable force.
By the way, it's a rapid fire, so like you're making.
I'm thinking way too long. Okay. See, the thing is, you don't usually explain it, so then I'm like, okay, I gotta quickly.
Quick.
I gotta quickly. Okay, fine, I'll be quicker. All right.
Favorite player in the league.
Favorite player in the league.
Other than your brother.
Oh, but see, this is why it's hard because I want to answer Anwar and everyone. I'm gonna go. Oh my God, I'm thinking too long. I'm gonna go back to Drew. I think he's one of my favorite players in the league. Yeah, and your dad.
Favorite player to talk trash to.
Ooh, I'm gonna go. For some odd reason, I like talking trash to the youth a little bit. So I like talking trash to Ayan. I think there was a skit that I talked trash to Ayan where I told them they didn't know what defense they were playing. But I like talking trash to the youth, getting their head a little bit.
Which Saad is the best?
Oh wow! So there's let me name the Saads. So it's Saad Qureshi, Saad Kharshid, and Saad Afzal. Right? Is that the three Saads in the league? Offensively, Saad Qureshi is the best. Best overall player, if they were all the same age, would probably be Saad Kharshid because he brings a lot to the table and his IQ and everything like that. But Saad Qureshi is the best player for just looking at it. Speaking of scoring offensively and dynamic.
Drew or Devo?
Are we talking about who would I draft? Who would I rather have on my team? Just in general?
Just in general.
Well, I picked Drew as my favorite player. Can you imagine if I picked Devo for this? No, Drew knows I love him, so I'm gonna go Drew. But I love Devo too.
Malv court or ICPA court?
Oh wow. Definitely the Malv court. ICPA outdoor ICPA court? No way. Yeah, I'm not trying to tear my ACL on like a pothole or something.
Plus, with the amount you're on the floor, like imagine falling on concrete.
Yeah, can you imagine? I'll have scrapes and scars. I would have scrapes and scars after every single game.
NBA or NFL?
Oh man, that's tough because right now the NFL, my Chiefs are playing right now. Patrick Mahomes, so I'm going with the NFL right now. Yeah, I'm in NFL mode.
Since you're wearing that Chiefs jersey.
Yep.
Broncos or Raiders?
Oh my God, both division rivals. I like the Raiders right now. I'm a huge Devontae Adams fan, so I like the Raiders. Yeah.
Most importantly, Isha Works or Hershey's?
I mean, Isha works all the way, but actually before you get up and I'll tell you why. So and I thought about this because I knew you were gonna ask me this. So my with my wife and I, we always, when we're deciding to eat outside or what we want to eat, I'll either recommend like a fast food or pizza place or anything like that, right? But like a franchise, like Pizza Hut, McDonald's, something like that, right? And she'll always be like, why are we going to the franchises? Why don't we just go to a local place? Because number one, we're going to support a local business. And also we're going to probably get better food because local businesses just have better food and they're made with love and care and stuff like that. So even when I mentioned and told her all about your Isha Works chocolate and bars and everything like that, she's like, that's awesome that you're going to support someone and it's Farhad's daughter on top of it and stuff like that. So just being able to support you and going off of what my wife molded me in the past few years to like support local and support people that you love and you know what I mean, people that care about what they're doing. It sure works all the way.
I know that you and Anwar were my first customers actually.
Really?
Yeah, do you remember that?
Wait, was
it was
this?
like it was
it
like
was
some
the baby shot, remember?
No, it was just some like park.
It was Eid. It was Eid. But you guys bought one, and then you guys wanted to do the order from her for some either baby shower or something.
Yes,
that?
we were your first two customers.
Yeah.
Wow! So we gotta get a plaque somewhere with our names on it. So for inshallah, when you're very successful.
Here's some
thank you
bars.
so much. Thank you so much. This is for you, honey. Because I don't eat these too much because I'm trying to watch what I'm eating, but it's all you. I'm bringing these home for you. Thank you so much, Isha.
Yeah, no problem.
Anything you want to ask us, or anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, so we I think we joked about this briefly before we started the podcast, but I wanted to know, first of all, I wanted to know both of your sides, but I wanted to hear your side first. For the MVP voting, I know you're definitely, I don't know where you stand today, but as in the past few weeks, you've definitely been leaning towards Drew, and pretty much in 100% agreement with you. There's no doubt he's always front runner for MVP. But are you swayed towards that decision because you're a little more biased off teammates, and obviously you want to see your teammates thrive and get awards and accomplishments and stuff like that, as opposed to somebody who you love at work and stuff like that, and myself. But honestly, like, is it more just like you want him? You know what I mean? Like, where do you stand, and how do you see MVP today?
Okay, so if I had to pick my top three, I think I've been saying this, right? It's you, Drew, and Andy in my top three.
Okay.
I feel very confident that I'm able to put my biases or my preferences out of my decision on like who do I value as like who deserves to get that MVP award, right?
Okay.
So for me, the reason why I think it's Drew is because I think my team is completely different without him, right? I think he's one of the biggest contributors offensively, defensively. Like if you look at the stat board, he's on every single category, like if not the top 5, at least top 10.
Agreed.
Right? So that has a huge impact. Right now we're 4 and
4? No, sorry.
4 and 4. We're 4 and 4.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't be 4 and 4 without him. Okay, right? And not to take anything away from the rest of our team, I think like we are starting to play better with the with all the players, but Drew's been the one constant that's been there, and to be potentially end up number 3 in the league, with a split against Sheikh Jarrah, right? I know they were short players one game. A split against you guys, where the last game you guys beat us in overtime by like 2 points. So like the top 2 teams, we tied with them through the season and then be in 3rd place because we had some other really bad losses. I think he's such a big part of that. So I see him, his stats, his attitude, the way he motivates everyone else. Like I feel like he is the MVP. You're right up there with him, and more so because of what you've been able to do with your brother out. So again, like for me, it's okay. How will your team fare if you weren't there, right? So like right now I think it's an unfair comparison if I say, well, how would your team fare, because your brother's not there either, right? So I think it will be much harder for them to lose the top 2 players and not be able to compete. But if Anwar was still there, I felt like you guys would still probably be very close to where you are now, right? But with that being said, he isn't there, right? And with him not being there, and you guys, and it's clear like you guys are still a very tough matchup, right? And it is you, it's Matt, it's other guys stepping up, but primarily it's like your ability to put up offensively, defensively, everything that you've been able to do. So that actually puts you and Drew, in my opinion, very close. And I'll come back to who I think my leader is now, but I just want to talk about Andy real quick too. So Andy for me was always up there, very close to Drew, and you were like a third. But right now I'm putting Andy as 3, and it's not his fault. It's not because of him. It's because that team is just so good. Where like if you take them out, I think they still are
There's
losing.
so much wealth to be spread around.
There's so many good players, so that's kind of a disadvantage. Kind of like what you talked about. When Anwar's there, people don't really look at you. So I think with everyone else, the way they've played, people are gonna look at Andy a little bit less. But he's still having a great season. But there's a couple of guys on that team that are able to carry that team even when Andy's out.
Agreed.
Right. Just to give you an example, when he wasn't there against us. They almost still beat us, right? That was a tough game. So I would say, Andy, like I think you're at 3rd place in my book right now. You do play them next week, so maybe that can change.
No, he's not. I don't think he's going to be there.
Oh, he's not going to be there next
did mention
game.
that he wasn't going to be there, as well as Andy did mention it to me.
Okay, well.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah. So technically, if they lose to you, then it is all on Andy. Right? So maybe you guys are going to lose that game. But coming back to now you and Drew. So one thing that Yasin actually said on the podcast that I was watching this morning that I didn't actually think about before was he said if you take that player off the roster, how does that team fare, right? So in our case, you lost Anwar and you stepped up. We lost AR and Drew has been stepping up, right? But Anwar and AR, as much as I love AR, like Anwar is a complete beast on offense. So like a loss of a player at Anwar's caliber and you guys still winning and you stepping up and filling those shoes and being the second team, you could tie Sheikh Jarrah for the first team. I hate to say this because like Drew, like I love you and stuff, but that to me made me think a little bit differently. Like wow, like that is huge, right? I think I give you a little bit of an advantage right now because of that. But again, for me, it's I want to go with who I think deserves it, not my relationship with that person.
Agreed. Yeah. Awesome. So, don't don't say because I'm here. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, anything you want to add on or how you feel about MVP? Who's your maybe top 3 or front runner for this season as of today? Like I said, pretend like I'm not here. No pressure.
Yeah, I know. But
Pick Matt.
Shout out Matt. He's a beast.
so I have like a tie for 3rd. I mean, it's tied for 2nd. So I had I don't know what order I would put them, but I had Drew, you, Abdul Dude, and Andy. Those were my 4, but
nice. It's so hard to choose.
Yeah.
Between
the fact that you picked 2 from that team, tells you like
how
that
dominant
team
that's the team to beat.
Yep.
That is the team to beat. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What else? Actually, can I ask you a couple of questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know Isha's been asking some questions, right?
Yeah, of course. You interrogate me every day at work.
I want to get your take on. Forget about your team for now.
Okay.
But I want to get your take on each team's strength and weakness.
Okay. So you want to start from any team?
Let's start with Sheikh Jarrah going down to
the standings. Okay.
Down to low, which is clearly the worst team.
Bottom of the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. Just kidding. Sheikh Jarrah. I can't think of many weaknesses. I think we collectively know as a league that you guys are the team to beat. So the pressure is very high, especially on you, Monam. The pressure is high when you're the team to beat. Like I said, like when you're not in the spotlight, and I think that last year we weren't in the spotlight to win. So it kind of, we didn't have the pressure. But maybe that's a weakness because that's the only thing I could think of. You guys have a lot of pressure to win. So if you're more expected for something to happen and it doesn't, then you kind of get knocked for it. Because I can't think of other weaknesses for your team. Strengths, it's size, it's the how scary Abdul Wadud could be in the playoffs, like how much of a force he can be, as well as the 3 towers, so that's size between David Barber, Abdul Wadud, and Andy, as well as the guard play and the defense of El and Sultan. as well as Monum shooting lights out this season. So strengths are they're very well rounded. Weaknesses are, besides that, you have a lot of pressure to win this championship. So you want me to skip my team, right? Because we talked about my team.
Well, I think let's talk about your team. Let's talk about your team a little bit too. Okay. Just from your standpoint, like what I think you guys are lacking and can.
Okay. Strength wise, I think we have the best IQ and experience. One of the best IQ and experiences in the league. We're a little bit older in age, so we do have that experience. And we one of our greatest strengths that I love about our team is when we say something to each other, we just absorb it. It's not. There's no retaliation. There's no. Okay, maybe we should do it this way. We should do it that way. If one person comes into the game and says, "I truly think a 2-3 zone will work, 2-1-2 zone will work against this team," we talk about it as to why it will work, and we just go with it. You know what I mean? So I think with our maturity, the biggest strength we have going for us is that we all trust each other, and all of us can be leaders when we speak up. Even me, like on the court, when I tell Yusuf, Sumer, any of these guys that maybe be in this spot, or I like it. I like this. I like to be here to get the ball. Anything like that. They just say okay. Like they absorb it. It's just okay. Like you know what I mean. It's gonna happen. If I got upset, I didn't get the ball on a play, maybe with a mismatch or anything. They tell me you're gonna get the ball in the next play. You know what I mean? So I think that's a great strength that our team has. Weakness, I think I did touch on it earlier. I think it's gonna come down to our stamina and us being able to handle the ball when we're being pressed with pressure, because teams do the last 10 minutes of a game, teams play much differently than they do in the first 30 minutes of a game, because now it's the clock's ticking and you have to press the ball, maybe meet a half court, full court press. I really hope we can overcome that, and I feel like that's a weakness that we have to work around and develop a game plan for in the playoffs. Team 3, which would be Ramallah. Your guys' strengths are that you have great leadership because you're the captain. So even just seeing this past game from Nadim, I had no credit taken away from him, meaning not that people are changing up his game, but you're guiding him on how to play and where to be and how to kind of understand the fundamentals of basketball a little bit more. So just seeing that from him this past week, like I would give him player of the week only because of where he was in the first few weeks of the season. Meaning he would be one of the front runners for player of the week because of how well he played, and that's because of leadership from you, from Drew, from a couple of these guys on your team. That you guys have great leadership, and then you have the best player in the league, in my opinion, in Drew. So that's your strength, that everyone's working around him. And Devo is, in my opinion, the most underrated player in the league. I think Devo doesn't get enough credit. I would pick Devo very high in a draft because I know what he brings to the table and how much of an impact he brings on the court, like hustle-wise, defensively. Going to weaknesses, I would say I don't know AR's health, but if AR is going to be out for a more extended amount of time, the weakness is that your other guys haven't fulfilled that expectation or just kind of stepping up to the plate. Where Devo and Drew, I think that they're going to do their thing, but between you, Saad, and a couple of your role players, between you being more aggressive and Saad Khurshid, he's a great, fantastic player. He just needs to be a little more aggressive as well. I think that it'll be hard for you guys to fill a void if you guys are missing any players. But you guys are at full strength, the top 3 strongest team in the league, in my opinion. Who's next?
U team.
The U team, yeah, the U team. Abdul Wadud touched on this a lot. It's that they're missing weaknesses, that they're missing leadership. They're missing a mentor. They're missing someone who just kind of will make them like we already know what they're capable of. I mean, they're great players. I like every one of those players on that team. In the sense of I think they're all between 17 and 19. I know they have Qasim and Salman. Inshallah, I hope you feel better, Salman. I know you were out this week. But I think they need great leadership, and Qasim and Salman bring that leadership. I think they do. I think they just continue to need to be guided, and they need to.
I think they need to show up.
I think they need to show up, wake up. I know a couple of those things they need to do. They definitely need to do because they have the potential. And I was joking about it with you a little earlier that I said I sat there around the youth kids before their game, and they're kind of just, dressing up, not even talking, just watching the game and everything like that. Take advantage of the 15-20 minutes you have before the game. Why are you guys not game planning? At least know what kind of defense, at least know what, maybe you guys do, right? Maybe you guys group chat all week and talk about it, but maybe you're going to forget that up until 15 minutes before the game. That's the most crucial time because this is where you're going to be locked in and ready. It's
like that 10-15 minutes before the game is like your only opportunity to go over and remind everyone what the game plan is for the day.
Exactly.
Right? And you get to see who's there, who's not there. Exactly. So if you do need to make some adjustments, that's the time to talk about it. And obviously, you kind of mentioned to me that they weren't really talking about the game at all, which is disappointing because I felt like this was one of their must-win games to kind of prove to the league that okay, they lost a game and they're gonna come right back and win this game.
And they were right in it the whole time. Maybe if they were better prepared or if they knew what adjustments that need to be made, that they could have definitely won this game, which would have been a huge win because it's against such a strong team.
Yeah, actually, I heard them talking in the beginning. I don't think it was towards the end of the game. I think it was before halftime and during halftime a little bit. They were talking about their game plan and defense and stuff like that.
Nice.
So they were talking about it. It just wasn't right before the game.
That's good, yeah. And then even the Mullick twins and stuff like that. We put pressure on Aryan to be, because he's the captain. Everyone puts pressure on him to be the leader and all that. But you guys should step up. Mashallah, you guys are great players. You guys have the perfect build frame to play basketball and to dominate this league. And I think you guys will dominate this league within a few years, if you guys aren't already. So you guys just need to be more talkative and just be a little more exertive, be a little more, spill your emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe they just need an alpha, like they were saying about Lode, right? Yeah. You need someone that's going to step up and say guys, this is what we need to do, and everyone else agrees and follows that game plan. Because right now I feel like they are sometimes on different pages. Agreed.
Yeah. And then we'll go to Diyar Yassin, which is Usman Shah's team. Weakness, I think I knew this pretty much off the bat, is that you guys have, I don't want to say one-on-one players. Basically, one-on-one players are players that are looking to catch and shoot. So they have a lot of those players that play the perimeter and just want to kind of get the ball and kind of just look at the rim. And then you have a guy like Usman Shah who can be utilized in the paint, and he has the potential to be a double-double. We've seen it actually in the past, I think in the past few seasons, that he's been putting up double-double numbers. So it's kind of just they extend outside too much, and it's just more all right, we passed once or twice and I have an open look, let me just shoot the ball. So that's a big weakness that Usman Diyar Yassin's team has. A strength that they have is that they have, in my opinion, Saad Qureshi is going to be the best scorer in the league, probably in the next couple of years. If he's already a top 3 scorer, I think he's third or second in points per game.
I would argue just solely based off one-on-one play, he probably is the most dynamic scorer in the league just because of how fast he is and how quickly, once he starts hitting some of those shots and his ability to just move around, it's very, very hard to stop him.
Agreed.
And
absolutely.
you have to take advantage of that.
Agreed. Absolutely. Yep. So, did I mention my strength? I forget.
Yeah.
Did I just? Yeah. Yeah. So, going to the last team, which is Lod, which has no expectation of winning at all. So you guys have no pressure, right? So you guys will thrive, inshallah, in the playoffs. But weakness that I saw right off the bat yesterday, because I watched their whole game yesterday, was they're not. I want to say that it's more of the inside play, right? Because we always talk about them being an outside shooting team between Dawood, Ethan, James, and Yassin, shooting outside and stuff like that. But there's a couple of plays that I saw where players got the ball inside. James, I always call you out last season, but a couple of opportunities that they had, brother Uthman, if you're around the rim and you have the ball, put it up. if there's anyone on my team who doesn't get the ball around in that painted area around the rim and doesn't put the ball to the basket, I'm going to be upset with them. I'm going to be upset that they didn't take the shot or put up a shot. You know what I mean? So I think they need to be more aggressive inside. Stop going off this whole thing of everyone saying, oh, you guys are outside shooting team, you're going to live and die by the three. You utilize your inside strengths and take advantage of it when you have the opportunity there. Like Gauss, he gets talked about in the league and stuff like that, but I really personally love Gauss in his game. I just think he needs to have the right mindset and a little bit of mentorship and a little bit more. He needs to just mature up a little bit. But Gauss, inshallah, once you do get that and you figure that out on your part, you have great potential. And I really, honestly, I do love your game. And I even love you as a person. Strength that team has is that they're very unselfish. And obviously 3-point shooting, we know that they have that, but they're a very unselfish team and I feel like they can click it. Like once they click and their shots are falling, they could be a scary team in the playoffs. Like if their shots are falling from Dawood and Ethan and, Gauss is doing his thing and stuff like that. And Yassine's helping with the scoring a little bit. And James is facilitating. They're going to be a scary team in the playoffs for a team that's in the lower half of the rankings right now.
Yeah, I will say, just to add on to about load, right? So we played them this week. We played mainly like a 3-2 zone, right? So when you have 3 guys up top and 2 guys down low, I would expect them to try to attack the basket more. Mm-hmm. And quite honestly, I felt like they literally had no interest passing the ball inside the 3-point line. Mm-hmm. And when they did get the ball inside, because half the time I'm down low on the right hand side and Drew's in the middle. Okay. And I never had to really worry about multiple guys being in the paint or by the basket where we have to figure out how do we guard everyone. Yeah. And when they did get a pass inside, it was literally one dribble and pass it right back out, right, for a shot from outside. So you guys need to be interested in playing in and out. Yeah. You need to be interested in accepting the fact that 2-point shots are sometimes more important than 3-point shots because those 3-point shots, those 2-point shots that Nadim took 0 3-pointers, all of his 12 points, they were daggers. They were shots that put your team away. And they were more important than any 3-point shot he could have taken in the game.
Absolutely
right?
Agreed, yeah.
On the flip side, the scary thing about that team is, and I was reminding my team, we're up at halftime, but if there's any team in this league that can erase a big deficit, it's these guys, and they've proven they can do it. They were down 19 points the week before to Deir Yassin and came back in the second half. Yeah. In 10 minutes. Yeah. So the fact that they shoot that many threes, right? So imagine you're going just toe to toe and both teams are hitting shots. If they're hitting threes and you're hitting twos, after 10 baskets, they're up by 10 points, even though you've made the same number of shots, right? The problem is when you're not hitting those shots, because last few weeks you guys have struggled from the 3-point line, and you don't have anything else to go to. You guys need to figure that out, and then you guys will be scary.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Yeah. Anything else? I have nothing else on this side. Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you. You know what I mean. It was a pleasure to be on here, and I hope this continues. You get to meet a lot of players from the league, and get to know them because I would love to know them as well.
Sounds good, man.
All right, thank you guys. Yeah. Thank you, Isha.
Thank you so much to Waqas for coming out here and doing this podcast with us. Look for episode 5 of the Getting to Know You series coming soon. Isha Works, signing off.